Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome to those of you watching online at onespotmedia.com. For a fourth straight day, taxi operators across the island are taking protest action over sections of the new road traffic bill. The protest has led to chaos in almost every parish since Monday, with critical delays for workers and students because of roadblocks. On Wednesday, a section of the Stewarton Road in St. Mary was blocked by protesters' vehicles, which hampered the progress of an ambulance despite the wailing sirens. The protest surrounds issues with the new road traffic bill, but at least one of those issues has been rubbished by the Transport Authority. Is there any end in sight to this? We're now joined on the phone by President of the Jamaica Association of Transport Owners and Operators, Jatu Louis Barton. Mr. Barton, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Herman.
All right, thanks for joining us. First of all, the Transport Authority has rubbished the claim by your organization and taxi operators of a fine of $75,000. Does Jatu accept that that issue is resolved?
No, the issue is not resolved. We have documentary evidence, proof that a person was issued a ticket and was fined $75,000. So I don't know where the Transport Authority gets that from. If the Transport Authority is correct, then that person is due a refund from the court system, right? But I just want to apologize to the traveling public and to Jamaica that we are, call it, interrupting their daily flow. But there's a justice issue here that we have to take into consideration, and that is what we're fighting for. Justice for not only the operators, but for the entire traveling public.
All right, in light of what's happening, is protest action still justified? And if yes, what do you want now?
What we want is to amend that amendment where the owners of vehicles have to pay for the driver's tickets. Everybody's supposed to bear their own brunt. As far as we are concerned, a lawyer said yesterday that proposal, that amendment, is probably unconstitutional. So we're taking it up in some legal people. They will tell us what to do and advise us what to do. As far as what we do after that for the next few days, it depends on the guys on the ground, what they intend to do, because nothing is resolved at this moment.
Okay, I understand that you're just out of a meeting with the opposition. Could you brief us as to the details of that meeting?
Well, I can't give you the details, but we met with the opposition, some of the opposition senators, and they have decided to argue our case for us. They are going to take it to the Senate on Friday and put our position forward, because at the bottom line is that we were not given a chance to have an input on this amendment, and it's critical to our operation.
All right, Mr. Barton, thank you very much. President of the Jamaica Association of Transport Owners and Operators, Jatu Louis Barton.
Okay.
And an emergency meeting is set for this afternoon between the Transport Authority and presidents of taxi associations to address issues in relation to the proposed Road Traffic Act. The meeting is to be held at the Hotel Four Seasons in St. Andrew at 2 o'clock. The Transport Authority says formal invitations have been sent to presidents of each taxi association. Managing Director of the Transport Authority, Cecil Morgan, says the meeting is necessary to clarify misconceptions among transport operators.
They need to show more maturity in terms of their leadership. And they need to get a better understanding of the issues before they go out there. And, the transport sector is a very fragile one. And if we're not careful, we'll destroy it. And I think good sense ought to prevail, to be honest with you. When we met with the Spanish Town operators, they weren't even aware of some of the things that, that are being said. And that is why it's important for us to ensure that we communicate as best as we can with the public. And we'll be having a meeting, an emergency meeting this afternoon at 2 o'clock with the Taxi Association presidents, because we think it's very, very important to ensure that the information that is needed is disseminated in accordance to what we know it to be.
In other news now, a student of the Kellits High School in Clarendon has been slapped with several charges, including assaulting a policeman. This after a physical altercation between the two on the school compound on Wednesday. TVJ News understands that the police constable visited the school to conduct a class lecture. During the lecture, he reprimanded an unruly student who it is alleged then attacked the constable. In the video, which has been making the rounds on social media, the constable could be seen trying to restrain the student before they toppled over the railing. Following the incident, the policeman received medical treatment and a doctor's certificate. The student is being charged with assault occasioning bodily harm, resisting arrest, and using indecent language. He is scheduled to appear in court on December 7. Corporal punishment and public shaming have been the disciplining method for Jamaican teachers for decades. But with the government banning corporal punishment, many teachers have now expressed concerns about disciplining children. One of the main issues is, or what they say, is that many of the disruptive students come from abusive backgrounds. Speaking on TVJ's Smile Jamaica program on Thursday, President of the Jamaica Guidance Counselors Association, Rosette Gordon-James, addressed some of these concerns by suggesting different methods of discipline.
To understand that, yes, we're not in slavery times where a whip has to be over you. And we don't want persons to have to belittle you in that way. So you need to make sure that you do not have to get this type of belittling. And so to help them to understand that the other ways of discipline are just as effective, and for the teachers to believe in it too.
Mrs. Gordon-James adds that corporal punishment affects the child's self-esteem, which causes many of them to either act out or become reserved.
Some of these effects are very long-term and can cause them to not achieve the potential that they were meant to have. So it can get as severe as even suicide, because sometimes you don't see what's happening with public shaming. The child might, to save face, have a smile on their face. The child might pretend nothing is happening, but you don't know what is happening internally.
And public shaming is also frowned upon. Mrs. Gordon-James explained how this form of punishment negatively affects students.
Especially with teenagers, this is a stage where the friends are even more important than what the teacher thinks of you, what your parents think of you. So if you put them down before their friends, this is like damaging their whole, Erickson would call it the stage of identity versus role confusion.
Yeah.
So this is damaging their identity. Who are they? If you're going to damage who they think they are.
A St. Elizabeth man who is accused of sexually assaulting a child 3 years ago will know his fate on November 28 when he returned to the St. Elizabeth Circuit Court for sentencing. Andy Williams of Elderslie pleaded guilty to the charge when he appeared in the St. Elizabeth Circuit Court recently. The court was told that in 2015, Mr. Williams sexually assaulted a minor when she was 8 years old. The matter was reported to the Magotty police and he was taken into custody sometime later. Following several court dates and the advice of his attorney, he pleaded guilty. The Ministry of Education has come under pressure from parents of students at the Mount Industry Primary School in St. Catherine. That's because they say the physical structure of the institution has been neglected for too long. The parents protested this week, demanding that the Education Minister to address what they say are basic, long-standing issues. The details in this report.
The Ministry of Education, they are saying they are doing so much for so many schools out there. What about up here?
Parents raising their concerns to the Ministry of Education about rehabilitation works for the Mount Industry Primary School in St. Catherine. The parents gathered at the school entrance in protest this week over what they claim is the neglect of the institution by the ministry for more than 10 years. They argue that the facility is in dire need of repairs as it lacks proper lighting, has no running water, and no security fencing. They also point to the deplorable condition of the road leading to the school.
If you look at the school presently, it's just a mess the school is rearing. And when they come here, they have a problem with the teachers and the school body putting a little paint on the building. If you look at the back of the building, it's terrible. For many years, you see these trees around here, it's back in our time, maybe like 30 odd years ago, because the school is about 40 years give and take. And we have to, on Fridays, I can remember we have to go to the woodland to get stick to plant fences. As a result, those are the trees now.
When I come here with the goods, Pia dog barking after me to bite me up. I run them, I fall down sometime. Pia dumb thing. At my door, we have to sweep it after wash it with disinfectant. I am tired of it. I need a fence around there.
And when you look in your classroom, no lighting in your classroom. Our children and teacher managing.
right? A full time now. The higher are getting bad.
They say because of the conditions, the school fails periodical assessments by the ministry. But in spite of that, they say year after year, nothing is done to change the situation.
Persons come from the Ministry of Education to fail or pass the school. And fencing, they fail the school because there is no proper security, no fencing. But they are failing themselves because they are the ones that's supposed to get that in place.
They say they themselves have contacted the ministry seeking help, but
it's just promises, promises, promises. You know, for many years, just promises. And that can't work anymore.
The precincts of 18 schools across the country are to be upgraded over the coming months to make them safer for students. The project is being undertaken by the United Nations Children Fund, UNICEF, in collaboration with the JN Foundation and the road safety authorities in Jamaica. Traffic signs are to be erected around the schools at a cost of $1 million. Upgrades at the Hazard Primary in Clarendon were recently completed and is the first of 3 to be done this year.
We'll also use the results of the Child Road Safety Assessment Report to identify additional locations for the infrastructural intervention, such as the installation of crosswalks, signs, speed reduction surfaces, and other positive road traffic measures. We at the JN Foundation look forward to refining the exterior of our current school environments and thereby create a context in which our children are safer and schools more accessible.
Some of the funds from the initiative will also be used to sensitize taxi operators.
We will also be reaching out to the Ministry of Transport to target taxi operators and work with them to have them be better aware and cognizant of the rules of our roads. No child going to any school in this country should be in fear of crossing the road to the school or leaving the school to go back home.
Residents and business owners in Standfast, Brownstone in St. Anne are complaining about their political representatives. They say since the last general elections, they have been neglected by their elected representatives. The residents told TVJ News that for quite some time, they had brought several burning issues to the fore, and to date, they have not been addressed. One of their major concerns is that of flooding in the community. They told our news team that when it rains, a number of roadways which lead to the community are inundated. Another issue is that of poor lighting.
And with the street light not working, then it will cause more havoc on us down here. So we are calling on the authority to come and help us here, especially with the road behind me here. There's a lot of water behind me and the road is really bad. Every time this drain clean, I have to clean it by myself.
Disaster strikes when there is even a sprinkle. There's a major pond in the road, as you can see, just behind me. And on top of it, there has been no street lights for the longest while. However, because of a good citizen, the street lights were repaired. We have made numerous links with the councillor to get something done, and his theory is that, boy, he don't know what he can get done. So if I'm saying, if there's not a councillor to represent us, who is going to represent us?
Efforts to reach the councillor for the Dry Harbour Division, Carlton Ricketts, were unsuccessful. Stick to your treatment. An appeal this afternoon from the Health Minister, Dr. Christopher Tufton, for HIV patients not to abandon the treatment plan and medication being administered to them. The Health Minister pointed out that some patients stop taking the medication and admits the state and other stakeholders need to redouble their efforts to sensitize these individuals about the need to stick to the treatment. Dr. Tufton was speaking on Wednesday at a forum focusing on domestic abuse, including the incidence of this abuse towards women with HIV and AIDS.
Accept and work to overcome. Those to whom post-exposure prophylaxis is administered do not always stick to the course of treatment given the side effects that are sometimes experienced. Again, requiring greater public education and to address and overcome this issue. However, with your help, with the help of stakeholders as you are present in this room, and the work of the ministry, we are determined to overcome these challenges to ensure access to care.
We go on to news in sports. West Indies women's captain Stephanie Taylor says they are expecting a tough test when they face Australia in semi-final 1 of the Women's World T20 at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua today. The Caribbean women topped Group A with 8 points after picking up 4 straight wins, while the Aussies finished second in Group B on 6 points, losing only once to India in their final group game. And though Taylor is happy with the Windies' unbeaten run, she says they won't take the Australians lightly.
That momentum going, coming into, the semis, but, with saying that Australia is not a team that is going to roll over and say, take the semi-final. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and seeing that they came off a loss, they would definitely want to, win this one.
The game is a repeat of the 2016 final in India, where the Windies won by 8 wickets. The Aussies will be out for revenge, but Taylor wants the defending champions to remain focused.
As a team, what we need to do, we don't want to focus too much on them, but how can we improve from last game and, what we are looking to do as a team going forward.
Taylor was speaking on Hits 92 FM's Sports Grill with Simon Crossgill. Match time is 3 p.m. India will take on England in the second semi-final at 7 p.m. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Please join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.